we talked about an important weekend for DJ Turner and Jamon Green. They move on. Will Johnson, wow. They eased him in, got him the reps early in the season, and progressively got him on the field more and more. And he certainly showed why he was a 5-star.
I mean, the kid it's really, really impressive. And I think, like, we always talk about these 5-stars, and Mark, you and I know, how 30+% of them just completely fizzle out. They don't work out. He is like, all right, he might have been a 6-star, honestly, because he's been that good. And then, I've talked to NFL agents. I've talked to Will himself, and they're telling him if he continues on this trend, he's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft here in a couple years. And so it's really impressive. And the thing that impresses me most about him is his size. He's all of 6'3", but still has that hip swivel and that quickness. Usually you, as a corner, you have one or the other. You're either the big dude that doesn't let a guy off the line, or you're the little guy that can run with anybody. He can do both. It's really impressive what he can do in the pass and the run. And now a guy that is going to be interesting with some size as well is Omarion Walker, who has now switched from wide receiver to cornerback. And Jim Harbaugh, only 3 spring practices into this thing, said that Omarion Walker is already considered a starter. So he must have shown something already that Jim Harbaugh really likes, because let's be honest, Harbaugh doesn't just hand out starting roles by any means. It's like fight to the death. We'll tell you on September 3rd or whatever that first game is, let alone not in February is he going to tell anybody that they're a starter. So you've got now 6'3" Will Johnson on one side of the field, 6'4" Omarion Walker on the other side of the field. That really helps when you have, a number one wide receiver on the other side of the ball. If you're trying to cover him, you don't have to have Will Johnson maybe mirror on each side of the field. You can play it straight up as you want to. So I'm going to be really interested to see Omarion Walker. He's thin. He does have some beefing up to do, but he's fast as all get out. He ran the fastest 3-cone drill, I believe, that would have been the fastest in the draft ever in their spring practice. And, it's is it on a hand watch? How does it work? All that stuff. That's really impressive. I'll give you a little tidbit too. JJ McCarthy was 3rd on that list for Michigan for running the 3-cone drill at quarterback. That's pretty impressive, I would say. So we'll, we got to talk about JJ every so often too, right?
He has to come up in every segment. I think we're contractually obligated for that. But I did see that post on social media about Omarion Walker. So regardless of, hand timed or otherwise, he's in the ballpark of the best at the NFL Combine ever. That just shows quick twitch, just amazing quickness and agility. And no question about that.
Again, to have the size and the quickness on both sides of the field, and that other corner spot opposite of Will Johnson was like the one hole that Michigan needed to fill on either side of the ball, and it sounds like they already filled it. And so that's where, as Michigan fans are looking on, they can feel pretty comfortable with that, I think, instead of going, through this spring and summer wondering who that's going to be. But I still do think Jamon Green's twin brother, has a chance to get some snaps there as well. So he's going to be fighting for that spot. He's definitely, he's a grad student, so he's got the experience. And then at the safety position, we still have size. Makari Page is 6'3" as well. So Michigan all across the board has size. He's been a standout for Michigan now in this past year. I think a lot of people wondered if he would ever make that leap. And in 2022, he did make that leap to be a starting safety, and has done really, really well, especially in the run game. He's a run stopper. He does fantastic with that. And alongside him at the safety position is Rod Moore. Rod Moore is one of my favorite players in all of college football, let alone in Ann Arbor here. Just a genuinely nice young kid, but also 3-star athlete out of Dayton, Ohio. Nobody thought he was going to be anything. He's undersized, but he's got heart. He's smarter than all get out, and he makes plays on the ball. He was a huge piece in that Ohio State win and all year. I think it was 247. I can't remember exactly what it was that said he was one of the top safeties, if not the top safety in the country coming back in 2023. So I think the defensive secondary was one of the biggest question marks going into this season, but I actually think it's underrated in that it could be a really good piece, a really good thing for Michigan's defense.
Good stuff from Justin Rowe, setting us up for Michigan's defensive prowess. It's been exactly that for the last few years, no doubt about that. Anybody else in the secondary?
There are some young guys with Zeke Berry and Jalen Perry. They're going to be great. Jaden McBurrows, I think, has a shot at getting some snaps at corner as well. So we'll see how things go. I mean, RJ Moten has done a phenomenal job when he's been asked to step in too. I think he's bounced back and forth between a starter and a second string. So they do have some depth there as well with guys that have experience.
Awesome.